The Pokemon franchise is a Japanese game turned anime series that started in the 90s. And since then, the series has done nothing less than captivate the hearts of millions of dedicated fans, young and old. In very short terms, the series revolves around capturing various characters called Pokemon. You find them out in the wild and then battle these characters against other Pokemon to ultimately determine who will come out on top. Like I said, that's a very simplified version of what Pokemon is because, well, over the span of 20 plus years, the series has definitely evolved numerous times. And over the course of its evolution, there are a ton of games that have been released since its initial title. And almost every single one of these releases does well with the fans. Die-hard fans have supported the game launches each time that a new one gets announced. I mean, come on now, you all remember 2016. This game got people to go outside. Fortnite could never. And just this past week, the Pokemon series reached its newest installment in the game series with the release of Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. This game aims to do the standard formula that the dual color named Pokemon games usually do, which is to explore, collect Pokemon, and fight your way to the top. The simple yet fun formula. However, the once seemingly unbeatable formula has been met with more backlash at launch than usual. Fans have created an uproar filled with complaints on the game and posting their refunds that they demanded. But why? What about this year's Pokemon game has made this many people leave such a negative impression? Well, of course, I brought you all here today to discuss this, so in this video, we're going to get to the bottom of the reason for the disappointment in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet were released November 18th exclusively on Nintendo Switch, as all mainline Pokemon games usually are these days. The game was developed by the veteran company Game Freak, the studio that developed these games since the 90s. And the game has seen much hype since its initial hypement about 8 months ago. Players were expecting not only a revamp of gameplay mechanics and new Pokemon, but also a standard update on visuals and graphics of the game. You know, just to fit into the times of the new graphics that we're so used to getting. However, upon release, when players started their Pokemon adventure, many were greeted with performance issues and mid-tier graphics. Many people are subject to the game's smaller bugs such as map clipping and invisible textures, while others have experienced severe issues such as frame rate drops and game crashes. Now, of course, it is still launch week, so bugs and glitches are always expected when a game first comes out. But to have so many and so frequently, you can obviously see how this will be a turnoff for the majority of fans. And not to mention that the game's overall standard visual performance isn't something to write home about. The game clearly displays its graphical limits when you play the game on a larger screen like a TV or a larger monitor. It definitely shares likeness of a resolution from a game past generation. But this is on a Nintendo Switch, so much of the graphical limitation could arguably be due to that reason. And that reason is what some fans are using to defend the game's state right now, believing that it is because of the older hardware of the Nintendo Switch that the game runs so poorly. But ultimately, in my opinion at least, I feel that more of the blame is to be placed on the developers, Game Freak. Because when you compare the game to another Nintendo title on the Switch, like Breath of the Wild, you can see that it can be possible to give your game a better quality on the Switch's hardware. And unless Game Freak is in some sort of financial crisis that we don't know about, You can't say that they don't have the budget to develop more quality graphics. You know, as I've stated before, each release is highly supported by Pokemon players. And ultimately, this is the major reason for the backlash that the game has been facing since its launch. Another factor, while it is a minimal complaint, is the fact that some of the new Pokemon added to this game are seen as lackluster. For example, I've seen some fans discuss the addition of the new Pokemon Flamigo and call it nothing more than a bland Pokemon. I mean, to be fair, it is just a flamingo. But the Pokemon series has had their fair share of bland Pokemon in the past, so, you know, this argument hasn't been that widespread. But hopefully, the main issue of the game's performance will be resolved soon to reverse the rocky start of the latest Pokemon launch. Because after all, through 20 years of Pokemon, fans have come to expect more from these games. So what do you guys think about the launch of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? You know, feel free to leave a comment down below. Matter of fact, comment your favorite Pokemon in the comments. Just go ahead and do it. As always, please leave a like on the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you subscribe. Yeah.